class, this is Michelle, and today we're going to make my community circle. So here are the materials that you need for today. So first of all, you're going to need a crayon or some sort of coloring materials. You'll need a pencil and a sharpie or a fine liner, a scissor, and a stapler. And this is a packet that I have ready for you. It's in various forms so that you can choose for your own use if you're making one for yourself or your class, depending on where you live and what your communities are like. I've made it into many different varieties, so please take a look and choose the one that fits your use. So this is a more brief one for just one. I've also made it in two different forms so that if you're not living in Canada like me, you can choose and draw in your own map. And I've actually printed those out on a colored piece of paper, so it makes it a little bit easier. As you might already know, I teach younger grades, so I've already made it into a different colored paper. I only need one here because I need it for myself, so I'm going to cut them out and just use the one that I need. Here are some of the ones that I already have used left over. And I've noticed that I've actually made a mistake. That's not the one I should have printed out. I printed out the wrong one. So I'm missing a circle. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to look from my white piece of paper. That would actually be a little bit helpful to show you what it's like when I use the white paper. The advantage of using the white paper would be that you would be able to decorate it a lot more than the colored paper. You can color in the actual paper or decorate it or draw some drawings in it or anything like that. Alright, let's get started. So you start with the very first circle, and the very first circle is you. It's by author page, so by whatever, so-and-so, your name, and then you draw yourself. So I asked my students to draw themselves in it. It is a very tiny little paper, so they're going to have to use some fine motor skills to do that. The next page it says, I am in division blank. So we are talking about my class community here, and I asked them to draw their class. So if you don't use the word division, you use your class or anything like that, you can do that because I do have a template that just says I am in blank. So you can fix that and put whatever fits into your use. And I just started drawing a few students here that are in my class. There we go. Let's move on to the next circle. This one is my school community. So we talked about this is my school, and I have to write down I go to blank elementary, and I've actually put in a random elementary school in there. And the next one is the province or state for some of you, or I don't know what it could be. Write whatever fits to your use. And the next one would be the country, and the last one, nobody has to fix this because this is the Earth, the planet that you live in. Alright, now let's use this Sharpie to fine line them or to go over them. If you have a fine liner, it'd be easier for you to use, especially for the smaller circles like this. I decided not to fine line my drawings, but just my writings because the Sharpie was actually quite thicker than I thought. Alright, and just same thing, use your Sharpie to write over it. And then we are going to just color them in. So I asked them to complete it before they use the scissors. It's just easier that way because it's easier to clean up. They get distracted a little less and they don't lose paper. So please ask them to finish up, or please ask yourself to finish up your all the writing and drawing parts done before you started cutting and stapling. It's just easier that way. And take your time and decorate your paper as much as you want. I only colored in the paper, but if you want to decorate the background or draw something in the background or extend it into a different communities, you go right ahead and just do whatever you want. As I say it every time, this is for you and this is your project and you can do whatever you want. for the school here, I kind of just found a picture that could work and added in there because to save time. For a lot of my students, it takes a long time for them to draw, and so I thought this might be a good one for me to just go ahead and put in the pictures so that it's easier for them to just color it in and make it a little more fun. Same thing for the province, the country. More likely for the country and the province because my students are a little less aware of the countries and the province where they're living at yet. But if you are teaching older grades or if you would like to do your own, like I said, I do have a blank template ready for you, so you can use that one. Or if you live in a different country and you would like to do the same thing, please go ahead and just put in the map on the PDF file so you can print it out for yourself. So for the province and the country, as you might have already noticed, I've asked them to color in just the place that we live in so that it highlights our community. Some of my students decided to color in two different areas differently. So they used red for the area that we live in and the other colors for the rest of the country, which is fine. And then of course the earth, the beautiful earth, please ask them to color it in. I've used a boring, same old blue and green color for the ocean and land. Ask them to make it, ask them to be creative. You sometimes find out how beautiful things turn out, even if it's not the most generic thing. Alright, as you can see, I am rushing. You should not be doing this. Take your time and actually spend some time on coloring. I'm going to clean up my crayons. Same with my crayons. Please take your time instead of just shoving it in like myself. Alright, let's put that aside, and now we need our scissors, and we're going to start cutting them in circles. Remember, every time you or your younger students use a scissor, please ask them to take time. I did have to help out for a few of them. Sometimes what it works is if you ask them to take turns. Like, you can cut the smaller circles and they can try cutting the bigger circles. Just motivate them a little. It might be a lot of circles for them to cut because there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 circles that they need to cut. They might feel, oh my gosh, I have to cut 6 circles, I can't do it. So, anyways, just random talk. Shouldn't be hard to cut them all out. After you finish cutting your paper, you're almost done. Here comes my last one. We are going to put the scrap papers on the side and you line up your circles. So here is an important part. You need to make sure they're all lined up like mine. And after you do that, you will have your own book like this. It's a good visual for kids to understand what my community looks like. Alright, very good job everyone, and I'll see you again. Bye!